Welcome to our City Commission Town Hall meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. It is 7 p.m. This is not a business meeting, so no action will be taken at this meeting. We would like to welcome anyone up to share any topic that they would like. Please state your name. We will allot a good amount of time but also if you're here for the same issue in your party, would also like the name of everyone else too.
I think we're all here for the same issue.
Great.
You want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. So, good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioner. My name is Beth Coaxel, and I'm a resident of Garden City, and I've lived in my home near 1107 Gillespie Place for the past 15 years. And during this entire time, the house at that address has remained unoccupied. This property has long been a source of frustration and concern for our neighborhood. It is not only an eyesore, but also a growing safety and health risk for nearby residents. Vacant homes like this can deteriorate quickly when left unattended, posing serious threats to community well-being. According to national research, vacant and abandoned properties are associated with several risks. Increased fire hazards due to neglect or susceptibility to vandalism, pest infestations that can spread to neighboring homes, crime and safety concerns including illegal dumping and trespassing, and declining property values which discourage investment in our neighborhood. While I fully respect property rights, there must be a balance with the responsibility of maintaining safe and livable neighborhoods. Chapter 18, Article 2 of the City Code outlines minimum maintenance standards, and in my opinion, this property no longer meets them. Furthermore, Article 8, Section 18 of the City Code defines an unsafe, unfit, or dangerous structure as any structure which, as a result of dilapidation, deterioration, disrepair, or casualty, would be injurious to the health, safety, or welfare of an individual if inhabited, results in an increased possibility of fire or accidents, or is otherwise unsafe, unsanitary, or detrimental to adjoining properties, neighborhoods, or the general welfare of the city. In addition, to the structural concerns, on February 3rd, 2024, the address of 1107 Gillespie was used in a fake Facebook marketplace post by someone attempting to sell lawn furniture for $400. I was alerted to this scam when a friend of mine contacted me to ask who lived at the address and whether or not it was safe to meet the seller. This not only shows that the property is being misrepresented online, but also adds another layer of risk and confusion for our community. Tonight, I brought photos of the property from both this past weekend and from October 2024 to show that in that span of time, there have been no noticeable improvements. The garage remains inaccessible, and the overall condition of the home continues to visibly decline. These images provide a clear visual representation of the disrepair and ongoing concern. I respectfully ask the Commission to prioritize a formal review of 1107 Gillespie Place and to consider appropriate enforcement actions or abatement options, whether that be rehabilitation, sale, or redevelopment. Our neighborhood deserves a clear path forward that restores safety and dignity to the area. In addition to this, I'd also like to bring to your attention a recurring traffic safety issue. In a 2-block stretch near Center and Gillespie, vehicles have crashed into utility poles at least twice a year. My belief is that cars traveling south on Center hit the dip just north of Hackberry and then accelerate rapidly, trying to see how fast they can go before reaching Spruce. I spoke with Mike Muirhead last week, and he shared that a device has been installed to monitor the situation and determine whether excessive speed or poor pole placement is the cause. I brought additional photos to show that these crashes have occurred at various times of day and night, demonstrating that this is a persistent and serious safety concern for residents. Thank you for your time and your consideration of these issues and your continued efforts to make Garden City a safer and stronger community for all of us. So I will show you my pictures.
Yes, please.
This is the front of the house. And then this shows the garage. Well,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a garage back there.
Thank you.
We can't really see it. So this is from October. And then you can kind of see the garage area in that one in October. And then this is just one of the crashes outside my window. And then this one was in the middle of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Would anyone else like to speak on that?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Tim Livermore. I live at 1101 Gillespie. I'm just a couple houses down from 1107, the house that we're talking about. And I invite both you guys to drive by on there and take a look at that house. I mean, as Beth said, it continues to be in disrepair. The roof now looks like it could cave in at any time, and the shingles are in terrible shape. You can't even see the garage because everything's grown over so much. They did come out this week and mow, but that's the first time I've seen anybody mow that place. We get a lot of animals around there too, possums. We've had a lot of possums in the neighborhood that tend to go right over there, and because there's so much brush and everything there for them to get into. It's just one of those places that's an eyesore for all of us. Our property values, I'm sure, would be better if we had a nice house there. Don't know if that house can be remodeled or anything at this point. I was told that it's been empty for 40 years. I don't know if that's the correct amount of time or not, but it's been a long time. And it needs to be, something needs to be done with it. I know the family members still own it. I've heard stories. They just can't bear to sell it. There's fighting with the family members. They don't, you know. Samuel Alsop owns the property. He lives over on 6th Street according to GIS. So he's in town apparently, but they just don't take care of the place. And it's just an eyesore, and it is a danger too. I called the police department last fall because the garage door was open. You could see it because the leaves weren't on the bushes and trees in front of it. So you could see, and it was wide open. So I called the police because that was unusual for it to be open like that. So I don't know, you know, if somebody, homeless person got in there or kids were going in there just to check it out or what. But it is something that's it's a health and safety risk in our neighborhood, and we just ask that something be done with it. I don't know what, you know, you guys can make them clean it all up. I don't know if it can be raised or how that works. You know, if a property is deemed unlivable, how that works. But if you guys could check into that and let us know something about it, because it is definitely an issue. We have a beautiful street. I mean, it's one of the, I think, the best street in town. I've only been there a little bit less than a year, but I always loved that when I knew the people were moving out of the house that I bought. We went over and looked right away and said, we'll take it. It's just a great neighborhood. So hate to have a house like that ruin, you know, for the whole neighborhood. So, all right. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. My name is Jim Perkins. I live right next door to the house in question at 1113 Gillespie. My wife and I, on the east side of that house, have a bird's eye view of the property, and the frustration level that we have with it is quite large. Every time the wind blows, parts of their trees fall off into our yard. I've got a stack 3 feet tall of the limbs off of their trees that fall into my yard. Shingles off their roof, blow off, end up in my yard or in my koi pond, constantly picking up after that house from all the junk that falls off their trees or off their roof into my backyard. There are 2 trees in that backyard that are listing at a heavy angle towards my house. I'm surprised the ice, well, the ice we got last year didn't bring them down, but if we get another ice storm, they're gonna come down. They're partially dead. I don't know, honestly don't know what's holding them up. The house has been abandoned for a number of years. I know we have communicated over the years with the city commission and with the city manager, and I appreciate Mr. Allen's responsiveness. He's been quite responsive in that regard. I appreciate that. And as was stated just a moment ago, somebody did come out and mow yesterday or day before, so I'll give them credit for mowing at least twice that I've seen this year. Interestingly, though, they can only access that backyard from the block to the north. They have to come in through a neighbor's house on the north side of the back side of our block and drive in through that way because they can't access it from the front of the house. There's no access. They can't get to it from our side, and I think the west side is completely blocked off by shrubbery and brush. I've given up trying to maintain and tend the bushes that grow over into our yard. I chop off what I can that comes over into our yard, and the rest of it I simply deal with Roundup because I'm tired of dealing with it. It's an eyesore and it's a hazard. What was mentioned a few minutes ago about the critters that come over. We had a fox running around over there for at least the first year and a half we lived there. The raccoons, possums, we've seen them all. You know, the regular animals that run around the city, we don't mind, but for goodness sakes, yeah, there's a limit to what we're willing to put up with, and I think we're there. The place really needs to be condemned. It is a health hazard, it's a safety hazard, and anything that you can do to help us out to get it looked at and inspected, whatever, would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jack Schmidt. I live at 812 Center Street. I've been a resident for 31 years. That house has been abandoned for 31 years since I've lived there. I'll just go, I forgot about the foxes, but, so I've had a hedgehog, foxes, deer, raccoons, possums, and I'm sure there's rats and other things that have come out of there over the years. So it is a health hazard and a breeding ground for probably some other things over there. So yeah, we really need to address it as a health hazard. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dustin Ard. I live at 1102 Gillespie. Lived there since January of 2022. Had a neighbor, Eula May, that lived next door to me. She told me it's been abandoned for 40 years or so. So, I mean, it's been abandoned for a long time. It's an eyesore, starting to get a lot of critter problems, possums. I have a young boy that's grown up. You guys know when boys grow up, they get curious. That's not a place that I want my boy to be messing around in. The roof is gonna fall in sooner or later. Yeah, I can't add much more than these guys, but if you guys could do anything to inspect it and get something done about it. And then on a side note, the fiber optic companies that come in and put fiber optic down our alley, there's now beginning to be sinkholes where they dug and left stub ups for the other houses. And then they destroyed all the rock, and so that stuff needs to be fixed. And if they could come in and put some rock in, I have a nice classic car. I drive the car shows and stuff, and I park it back there. And I would enjoy to be able to get it out and not drive through the mud. And it used to be nice to drive on rock back there. It's fine. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to? Great. So yes, thank you for your concern. This is definitely very frustrating. Yes,
Vice
ma'am.
Mayor, if we stretch this out another 60 seconds or so, it might be the longest town hall meeting we've had in about 6 years. No, I think staff may have a couple talking points, but I would just say that neighborhood, you've got some residents that have lived here for quite a long period of time, others that are new to the neighborhood. The issue's not new to the neighborhood, as many of them mentioned. The house has been unoccupied, which in and of itself isn't a violation of code. We don't have a requirement for occupancy. Different cities have different requirements. Minimum maintenance in the city of Garden City is defined differently than it is in other places. And so from a structural standpoint, what's going on outside the house is something that we can enforce, again, to what the code's written to. Size of bushes isn't one, size of the lawn and the weeds and the other things are. So there's some limitations as to what we can enforce, but this property is on the radar every year. the first violation notice that goes out. You guys remember the workshop we had at the last meeting? There's an inspection, there's a notice that goes out, there's a follow-up inspection. If that's in violation, then and there's been no voluntary remedy of the situation, it comes back to you at a city commission meeting, which may have a 2-week delay before we can even do that. And after that, we hire the contractor, it comes out. So that first delay, when you're talking about an environmental nuisance, is pretty long. And now after that, for the remainder of the calendar year, if there's violation, we can take action much quicker. But, 20 years, I think, is about the time that I think I date stamp this from when it went to being unoccupied. It's been routinely in the cycle of violation notice, either voluntary remedy or the city having to step in and remedy. So certainly the neighborhood, all the anecdotes they gave, all the stories they told, we believe to be absolutely true. We see it firsthand. The attempts at kind of intercepting or responding to folks that go onto the property without authorization to do things they're probably not supposed to be doing. We've responded to those calls from the police department. Animal controls responded over the years to the different variety of whatever animals that aren't necessarily supposed to be in the neighborhood either. So the state of the building itself, for a while, if the doors or the windows were open, busted up, ajar, or the eaves were exposed and there was an opening into the, that's something that you can go and begin enforcing a dilapidated structure. Once they're shored up, that stops that violation. It falls into compliance of the city code again. Now, over time, as the deterioration of the roof line and all of that gotten to the point to where, maybe that changes the math, changes the relationship to the code. It very well may, and we won't have a problem inspecting that or adding it to our list of things to do at all. So we appreciate the neighborhood turning out. I think even with the violations of the fourth speaker at our municipal pool, I still think you can take his testimony as credible in this situation. Those are two unrelated things, and even though he routinely breaks rules at the pool, he's still credible to talk on this particular topic.
Yes, please.
I think Matt laid it out really well. Beth did give me a heads up, so we have initiated that review process just for kind of everybody's situational awareness, and that includes not only from the kind of code enforcement, weeds, that type of thing perspective, but also from the property maintenance perspective that Beth brought up in her presentation as well. So we have initiated those processes, but to Matt's point, regardless of which of those processes are in place, there is a pretty lengthy timeline between kind of code complaint received and any type of resolution. But I did want you to be aware, and the folks listening and the folks in this room, that we have initiated both of those processes.
Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, and I appreciate everyone coming and voicing concerns and all of that. So it's much appreciated.
Can I ask when that was done then, the initiation of the code violations?
Last week.
Yeah, late last week,
But
2 or 3 days
been
ago.
done over the years? Has it been, it's been done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can go back and look in records. I don't know that there's been a year where there hasn't been a code violation reported and then pursued. Now, was there voluntary compliance, or did the city have to step in or take some action? I think most years there's voluntary compliance, but again, that delay is really long. That environmental nuisance first notice you get, by the time you get the complaint, you go do the inspection, you wait the number of days, you do the re-inspection. There was a letter that gets sent out. In the meantime, you schedule it for a city commission. You can have close to 30 days to fix the problem after you've been noticed.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, I do love Gillespie, and I do love driving down there. So, I hear you guys is concerned, really kind of thing. Again, this is not a business meeting and no action will be taken here. And so this concludes our town hall meeting. Thank you so much for coming.